Yes, Rockers Rise Up. Alright, so today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of days ago, and who also has a YouTube channel. Let's get kicking movies. Ryan, if you're watching this, mate, a little shout out for you there. But I was talking to him the other day. I think it was either last night or the other day. And we got talking about with YouTube channels and trying to find a way that would collab at some point and film something together. But I kind of want to, if he ends up saying this, I kind of want to combine like movies and music together at some point. But anyway, that's besides the point. We're going on talking about stuff like that, and it kind of gave us the idea for today's video. Like I said, something a little different. Normally I stick to just doing like rock and metal stuff and like on the chat on here, but I kind of want to do something a little different. Like I've said, I think I've said that about 4 times now, so I can shut the fuck up about that. Enough of that. Enough of repeating that shit. But it gave us an idea for today's video, and that is going to be discussing 2 musicals. Yes, I watch musicals. I like musicals. Obviously, nothing like fucking Cats or fucking Hairspray. What the fuck's Cats? You fuck it. You fuck it. You fuck it. If you fuck it. If I wanted to say Cats, I'd just go on fucking YouTube. But anyway, what I'm talking about is Richard Burton and Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, which I have booked tickets for to go see in Newcastle on the 7th of April. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to try and get a few sneaky pictures, try and film a little bit. And I know you weren't supposed to, but if anybody saw my little video of when I went to see Iron Maiden about what was that, fucking 3 years ago now. Trust us, there was quite a lot of people in the crowd there taking photos and filming, so I haven't got nothing to worry about that. So, yeah. Like I said, I'm going to try and get some pictures there. Pictures before the show, pictures after the show. Maybe vlog a little bit, I don't know. I'm going to say what I can do on that. And the other one that I want to discuss is with Eli Russell's Blood Brothers, which for those of you who don't know, in fact for those of you who don't know, I'll just quickly explain the two stories quickly. For those of you who don't know, War of the Worlds is basically it's basically a tale of between those who believe and the skeptics. Based off of the H.G. Wells novel, written in, I believe, the 1890s. Correct us on that if I'm wrong. Feel free. But it's based on the original novel by H.G. Wells, and basically it's where there's people like scientists and stuff like that who believe that the Earth could get invaded by extraterrestrial beings from outer space, and obviously there's the skeptics who are like, you're talking absolute bollocks, that pal, and the science are like, well, we're fucking not like, that kind of thing, and then what do you fucking know? Aliens come down from outer space, kill everybody, wreck shit, and cause big fucking boom booms. So that's pretty much the size of that. Blood Brothers, on the other hand, it's sort of a tragedy with comedic twists throughout. It's basically about two. It's set up north, up in the north of England, where I'm from, and it's, I think it's set in is it Liverpool or Manchester or something like that. I forget where it's at. And anyway, it's a story about a poor woman who's really struggling with paying bills, paying off her finances. She goes through the catalogue all the time and gets stuff out of there for her kids, but she cannot afford the payments on all that shite either. So obviously starts getting all the threats from the bank. She starts getting people coming to the house and stuff like that. Whereas on the other side of things, Mrs. Lyons she's a rich woman whose husband has, and her husband, Mr. Lyons, has a really good job. I don't think I could ever quite catch what he actually worked as, but for the kind of house they lived in, the financial status, the financial standing and quality and the quality of their lifestyle, it must have been a hell of a job. And basically what ends up happening is Mrs. Johnston, the poor one who I mentioned a moment ago, she ends up giving birth to two babies, to twins, basically, born July 18th as twins, like I said, but you can only afford to keep. In fact, no, it's not about affording to keep one of them. The story goes that Mrs. Lyons is desperate to have a kid. She wants to give birth. She wants to have her own kid, So she says to Mrs. Johnson, "Why don't you give one of your twins to me?" But none of them, but neither of them can, but the two of them can never know that they were once twins. They have to be kept completely separate. Because if they ever knew that if they ever knew each other existed, they'd both die and stuff like that. So that the two lads end up growing up completely separate in two completely different worlds. Iggy grows up a poor lad, obviously going around kicking stones, rolling around in the dirt, getting in a scraps and fights and stuff like that. Whilst Eddie, grows up, the other twin grows up in Mrs. Lyon's world. So he basically grows up with money and a good and a good standard of living and stuff like that. Basically, gets all the good stuff in life. And then at one point in the story, the two of them meet. They grow up together. They don't go to the same school, but they grow up together. And then when they get about 14, Eddie moves away to the countryside because Mrs. Lyons can't stand Mrs. Johnson. Why is the camera slanted like that? Haven't got a fucking clue. But getting off track. So the Lions moved to the countryside to get away from the Johnstons. And then when they're about 18, Eddie and Mickey meet up again. And then what ends up happening is Eddie gets a great job, I think, in Parliament, like the government or something like that. Some kind of job like that. Some kind of like high up, well paid job, and Mickey gets thrown out of every minimum wage job he has. He basically gets the gets sacked every single time. So his life ends up being miserable, whilst Eddie's ends up being amazing. And it gets to the point where Mickey's ready to end it all because his life's that shit. But he pushes Eddie away. But Eddie, despite him being rich and Mickey being poor, he still wants everything to do with Mickey. Because you can tell throughout the throughout the show and throughout the story how much Eddie cares about Mickey, and Mickey ends up marrying a lass called Linda, who he went to the same school with, grew up with from being kids. They end up marrying her, and then, like I said, they end up struggling. Their lives end up shit, and he basically starts abusing Linda, Mickey, by the way, not Eddie. Starts calling her, starts being nasty to her, aggressive towards her, and stuff like that. Anyways, the story goes on and on. When they finally meet up again, Mickey ends up getting really angry with Eddie, saying it's all his fault how I ended up and stuff like that. And he tries to kill him basically whilst he's working. So he bursts into I think it's like a town hall or something while he's giving a speech. Because like I said, I think he got some kind of like parliamentary position. Eddie did, and he ends up almost being killed by Mickey. That's when Mrs. Johnson runs in and it's like, no, Mickey, stop! I've got to tell you, you and Eddie, your twins, your brothers, stuff like that. And that's when it gets to the end where the police come to try and stop Mickey from killing Eddie, and they both end up being shot dead because Mickey shoots Eddie dead, and then the police shoot Mickey dead, and that's basically the whole story of Blood Brothers, and it has to be because I've now been recording for about 15.5 minutes. So this is going to be a long one, you guys. So yeah, so I'm sorry, but anyways, enough of this talking about the stories. Let's get on to the music. To the music, finally. All right, you guys. So I'm gonna work this. I'm not gonna go through every single song. I'm just gonna talk about the soundtracks in general, what I like about them, what I don't like about them, stuff like that. So yeah, let's get on with it. Alright, so I think we'll start with War of the Worlds. Now, like I said, War of the Worlds is an amazing story by H.G. Wells, and a bit of and fun fact for you. But in the 1920s and 30s, before television, War of the Worlds was actually on the radios, and in America, it sent the whole of America into complete panic because on the radio they made the story that believable that people actually started running out of stores, panic buying, doomsday prepping, stuff like that, and it was fucking hilarious to watch. Like, I was watching like me dad watching I should say, so for those of you watching outside of the UK, I was watching a documentary about it with him one night, and it got onto that bit about it being on the radio, about them making it all believable, and all the Americans started to run out in panic, started panic buying all this shit, proper fucking doomsday prepping, and it was funny as fuck to watch. So yeah. Anyways, I think I've kept you enough. Let's get on with the fucking songs. That's what you're here for. That's what this is meant to be about. And I've talked enough fucking shit as it is. Yeah. Alright, you guys. So the music. Did I like War of the Worlds soundtrack as a whole? I loved it. There's not, in my opinion, there's not one white track on there. There is some that's better than others, but none of them are white by any stretch of the imagination. My two favourites would be Forever Autumn and Eve the War. Especially Eve the War, especially with that intro narration. You know the whole, no one would have believed that in the last years of the 19th century, that whole intro narration on the start of that song. That version's about, what is it, 9 minutes long, but it's really good, and Forever Autumn is just amazing. Justin Harewood's a hell of a musician. So is Jeff Wynne. Obviously, credit where credit's due. Richard Burton, the one who wrote the play, the musical version of War of the Worlds, did all the screenplay, the writing, stuff like that. He had a lot of input with the musical side of things as well. So a lot of credit goes to him, Justin Harewood, and Jeff Wan. Props to you all. Obviously that's for Jeff Wan and Justin Harewood, because obviously Richard Burton's, as far as I understand, he's passed on. So am I right or am I wrong? Let us know in the comments. But still, credit them all for the music as a whole. Like I said, I love War of the Worlds. Like I said, those are my two favourite songs. It really, when you sit back and you listen to Eve the War, I'm just going to talk about that Eve the War for a minute. When you sit back and you really listen to Eve the War, you just relax, sit back, relax. At least for me, I feel as if I'm in that world. I start thinking weird things that I would never normally think about, and it really kind of fucks with your mind a little bit. Well, at least that's what it does for me. Anyway, but I mean that in the nicest of words, obviously, because it is in general one of the greatest pieces of music in any musical ever. But then you've got Forever Autumn, which is just an absolutely beautiful song. So well written, so well structured as well. And as for the rest of this soundtrack, I'm just going to say this: the War of the World soundtrack in general is just absolutely amazing. The one thing I say there's nothing else to say. That I honestly cannot see a downside to a soundtrack as amazing as the War of the World soundtrack is. It's just absolutely marvelous. If you haven't listened to the soundtrack, go ahead and listen to it, because honestly, I've got nothing but nice things to say about the War of the World soundtrack. But my two favourites for that one, definitely Forever Autumn and Eve of the War. Definitely. Props to Richard Burton, Justin Harewood, and Jeff Wan for that soundtrack, because it is just one of the greatest musical soundtracks of all time. Alright guys, so as you saw just now, talk about a little bit about some of my favourite songs from the War of the World soundtrack, what I thought of it as a whole. Like I said, it was an amazing soundtrack. Like I said, credit Richard Burton, Justin Harewood, and Jeff Wan for that soundtrack, because that soundtrack is just absolute chef's kiss. So now we'll move on to Blood Brothers, and I've got to say, this one, whilst the majority of it is still actually really good, there are a few songs that are a little bit weaker than the rest. One of them, for me personally, being the moving away song when it gets to that point after the Lions move away to the countryside, and then Mrs. Johnston finds out she's getting a house in the country as well. That song, I'm not the biggest fan of that song, if I'm being completely honest with you. There's one more as well, but I'm trying to remember which one it is. It's the I think that's it. The rest of them are just really great songs. Some of my personal favourites include "Tell Me It's Not True," the one at the start, I'm forgetting the fucking name of it now. We went dancing or whatever it's called. Marilyn Monroe. On Easy Terms. And The Devil's Got Your Number. Which I don't know about you guys, but The Devil's Got Your Number sounded like a proper Meatloaf's song, which by the way, I did see the news about Meatloaf. It wasn't by this point. It's a shame. I'm actually going to be doing a video on Meatloaf. Probably it's going to be the next video I do. After this one. So keep an eye out for that. It sounded like a proper getting back to Blood Brothers. The Devil's Got Your Number sounded like a proper Meatloaf song in my opinion. It had all the elements in there for a Meatloaf song. Definitely. And then another personal favourite of mine. It's one of the songs in the soundtrack that I think is a little bit underrated. The Summertime one, it's got like the piano version of. I think it's like a piano, like a synth, like a slow synth instrumental rendition of "Tell Me It's Not True," but it's got the narrator narrating over the top of it, going through the years of like comprehensive school or middle school and high school if you're watching in America or Canada, or like Canada or something. Going through those years to get to about 18, that's why the song ends. I think that's a nice piece. I'm Not Saying a Word as well. I like that song. Obviously that's Eddie's song to Linda. When Linda's upset with Mickey after everything what's happened, as I explained earlier on in the video. So yeah, those are some of my favourite songs, and as a whole, I would say whilst the soundtrack's not as good as Wild the World is definitely an incredible soundtrack. Not taking anything away from it. Most of the songs, pretty strong songs. Um, Definitely some very like engaging pieces of music there. I feel they, they bring like a lot more context. They add on a lot more context to the story than what the actual storytelling itself brings to the whole thing. I think it just to the whole thing. It really just like builds up the atmosphere of what's happening in the show, like in the story and stuff like that. I feel that's what I feel, and anyway, it's got quite a. Let's say what's the word I'm looking for? Like atmospheric kind of thing to it. Wow, it just builds. Sorry if I'm scratching my nose a lot, guys. It's just really itchy at the minute, right now. My chin as well. Fucking hell, everyone's itchy. Fucking back now. Anyway, getting off top topic again. So excuse me for that, but like I said, the whole soundtrack I think it's just quite atmospheric. You know, it's got a lot of the context I think comes from the soundtrack. Obviously, I'm not taking anything away from the storytelling, the actors, the actresses, the narrations, screenwriting, scripting, anything that goes into the storytelling process of the show. I'm not taking anything away from that, but the soundtrack really does add a lot more context and atmosphere to the story. It almost feels as if they're not even songs; they're more just like musical scenes um, that can play out in your mind. And if you know the story well, and if you know the story well enough, you can even allocate it to the exact scene in your mind. So tell me it's not true. The ending scene where Mickey and Eddie end up being killed. Um, that's the saying I allocate. Tell me it's not true too, because that's what Mrs. Johnson sings at the end of the show. Um, My child. Obviously, when Mrs. Johnson has to give one of the twins to Mrs. Lyons, and it ends up being Eddie. Um, and that's and stuff like that. Like I said, if you know the story really well, you can like I say, you can allocate songs like that, like different songs to the different scenes. But if you don't know the story that well, for me the first time around, the songs really got my imagination going. Um, I was actually thinking about the songs more than I was the story the first time around. And that's how powerful I truly believe the soundtrack to Blood Brothers is. It's just an incredible soundtrack overall. Um, don't really know who wrote, wrote the soundtrack, but hell of a soundtrack. Definitely one of my personal favourites. And let us know in the comment section as well, guys, if what your I should ask at this point. What's your favourite musical soundtracks? Can be from any musical, regardless of genre. Doesn't even have to be a stage show. It can even be a film. So it can be even fucking Cats, Les Miserables, Phantom of the Opera, which I also love. Um, like I say, Aspera, Footloose, Dirty Dancing, Grace, anything you want. just leave it in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to read those. So yeah, like I said, an amazing soundtrack for Blood Brothers. It's like I said, the Moving Away song is probably the weakest song out of all of them, but apart from that, incredible soundtrack. Definitely one of my personal favourites, and I love it all the world. So yeah, Blood Brothers by Willie Russell. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. That was me discussing two of my favourite musicals and the soundtracks. And like I said, I just wanted to try out something a little different in this one. Because like I said, I was talking to my friend Ryan. Like I said, what the channel called Let's Get Kicking Movies, which you should definitely check out. I highly recommend it. Like I said, it was about like perhaps collabing at some point in the future, doing a video together, and this is one of the things that came up, but then I think we're kind of like walked away from that idea a little bit, and so I'm thinking, why not do it now by myself, all alone, and yeah, that's it. That's how this video came about. So I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. As always, please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, all that is very much appreciated. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Be nice to each other. And as always, I'll see you all in the next one. Keep on rocking, guys.
I wish I had an angel for one moment.